All right, the injury report is out for Georgia and Tennessee. Both teams really banged up. Tennessee's got 7 guys on this report, 3 of whom are listed as out. That's something that the Vols have known about for some time. They've got 4 guys who are doubtful. Georgia's missing 2 guys in particular that we knew about that were, one though, Ernest Greene is listed as probable. Juan Gaston Jr. is listed as questionable. So the Vols coming in with quite a few guys. And then Ethan Barber is listed as out for Georgia. He's going to be listed as out for a while. So I think the big news overnight, Wednesday night, was that you have, probably the return of Ernest Greene. We'll see what happens with Juan Gaston. I would not be shocked if the questionable guys tried to play in this game. Kirby, after the Austin Peay game, was talking about, when you're watching Kirby and listening to Kirby, you have to pay attention to certain things. And one thing that he said was it's hard to do things without Ernest Greene out there. And he's your left tackle. He sets a lot of he sets your line. He sets your offensive line. And that's an important thing. I mean, left tackle was not pretty last week at Georgia. And, the offensive line was described to me by someone who has a lot of experience dealing with offensive lines as not pretty, hard to watch. So if you get Greene back, maybe you can fill in Gaston and wait for him to get healthy for the Alabama game. I don't know. I don't think that Juan's going to be out forever, but these guys, they're not supermen either. They're going up against people about their size, striking them, wrestling with them, all of those things. It's difficult. So, but if Greene were to return, you're talking about a conversation that's a little bit different than replacing both of those guys. Now, at the end of the day, what does that mean? I think, Tennessee not having everybody that they need defensively obviously helps Georgia. This is a sport where guys get hurt. It's just what it is. Nothing we can do about it. But it puts Tennessee at a disadvantage for sure, in a way that coming into the season, or say in July, you didn't necessarily think that they would be in. An offensive lineman who's very important for Tennessee has not played this season. He is listed as questionable. So the injury report had shades of good of what we knew. It was a better injury report for Georgia than it was for Tennessee. But again, you're going on the road. You're going to have to play without a snap count, basically. That's something that is, in this day and age, you really only have the capability to use that at home in the SEC. I mean, like, the road games, they just, it ain't happening. So Georgia will have to go silent count. And what does that mean? That means that you're going to have to, or just the clap, same thing. It gives you no advantage as an offense. So the protection is going to have to be outstanding. But really, more than anything, you're going to have to run the ball. And you're going to have to run the ball. That's going to be something that, this team really did very well with Gaston and Greene in there earlier this year. But and did pretty well, to be honest with you, against Austin Peay. But what we don't know is what is Gunnar Stockton going to be asked to do in terms of running the ball. He hardly ran at all on against Austin Peay, whereas he was running freely against Marshall. That was a big, thing. But I think it's smart that the SEC has done these injury reports anymore. Betting has become such a big part of sports, collegiate sports. This is an acknowledgement of that. It's also, I think it also slows down the aggravation of the head coaches and people on medical who are trying to be respectful of the players in terms of their injury and so forth, and not giving an advantage to a person, or not having pressure on players to tell people who then go bet this. That's why they have the report, is to sort of slow all of that down. It's not, I think it was a smart move. I think it's something that, the SEC has always allowed the schools to sort of do what they want to do when it's not an SEC event. They kind of put their hands up and are like, that's the institution's prerogative. In this case, it's not the institution's prerogative. They got to go do it. So you get Ernest Greene back, it really makes a big difference in my mind. You get Ernest Greene and Juan Gaston back, I think that's a half a point, at least. So that would be a big deal. The line has started ticking back up towards Georgia. The sharp money is on Georgia, 60-40. They might feel like there's just too much value to leave that on the table. I could understand that. I think the closer it gets to 5.5, the less the value is. But Georgia at 3.5 to me is great value. I think they're going to have to go and play well or they'll lose. I think that Tennessee has played well offensively, clearly. But the caveat for Tennessee is, there's been times in the past where they've played well offensively and then, not played well. And the other kind of question, and the answer to this may be yes. The other question about the Vols coming into this thing is, could they have replaced a pretty good quarterback with someone in a matter of 6 months, not even 6 months, and become a better team? The answer could be yes. Could they have lost the best running back in terms of production in the Southeastern Conference last year and become a better offense? The answer could be yes. It also could be no. And that's the part that, this addition by subtraction thing. Georgia lost Carson Beck. Is he a better quarterback than Gunnar Stockton? He's a different quarterback than Gunnar Stockton. I think that Carson Beck was starting for a reason. I also know that, people, quote, hoping that a quarterback won't play well. Gunnar Stockton's going to be a good quarterback at some stage at Georgia. I don't think he's been a bad one yet. But this is a big opportunity for this Georgia team to go and get a win that would be the winner of this game, particularly if it's Georgia, will have gotten themselves a win that matters. I think if you're Tennessee and you win this game, you have done what you needed to do. It gives you a coin for the rest of the season. The only thing about it was that you're at home. And I talked about this a season ago when Georgia beat Tennessee in Athens. It's like, you were at home, and, we saw the home teams specifically in the Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, quadrant of the SEC. The home team won every single one of those games. The other part about Tennessee, too, is, and taking away the 21 season, because they lost a couple games at home in 21, they play markedly better in Knoxville than they do on the road. It's noticeable. And I don't just mean in the gimme games. They definitely play far better in those games. They run up the numbers. It's, they're going to make you pay. But, they're 11-1 over the last 3 seasons in SEC home games. Away is not even close to that. They have multiple losses on the road. They lost to South Carolina, lost to Missouri, lost to Georgia, lost to Alabama. There's a lot of losses that they've taken on the road. Some of them are not, I don't think there's any shame to losing to the 2022 or 2024 Georgia teams on the road. I don't necessarily think there was any shame in losing to Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa in 23. I think losing to Arkansas in 2024, there was some shame in that. That was bad. So they do on the road, and the way they lost to South Carolina in 22, completely destroying their hopes of going to the playoff. And in spectacular fashion, that was pretty bad too. So, but at Neyland, they played very well at home. They knocked off Alabama twice in the last 3 seasons. They've been better at home. They had to survive Florida last year, I think, in overtime. So that wasn't unreal. I'm getting one of the years confused. I think it was 24. But, you know, Georgia, at the end of the day, the question comes down to, has Tennessee gotten better by losing two huge pieces to the offensive puzzle, and Nico not being there, and then the running back not being there from a season ago? The answer can be yes. It can be that you got better because other players aren't there and they've been replaced by, you know, other guys. But, you know, like the same notion that people are saying at Georgia with Carson Beck and Gunnar Stockton, I'm not sure it's exactly the same, you know, thing. One has been, you know, the Tennessee quarterback just got there. I mean, like, he's played well, but he just got there. Gunnar Stockton's been at Georgia since 22. So he knows that program and knows the situation. I mean, you're throwing a lot of things together at Tennessee. And, you know, but that said, that's how you make stew. And stew can be really good sometimes. So I think, you know, this game, the injury report does matter a lot. I think what you need to pay attention to on Dawg Post on Thursday and Friday is, what is the progress of Juan Gaston? My guess is it will be questionable the entire week. That would be my suspicion. I think that the notion that Ernest Greene is probably going to play makes a big difference for Georgia in the way they can plan and so forth. I mean, I'm recording this on a Thursday. There's not going to be any more strenuous, you know, concerning practices at Georgia the rest of the week. So I would anticipate Greene playing. The questionables that are on our list that's been reported over at Dawg Post, I don't know. I'm skeptical that they'll play. They're questionable for a reason. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you after the game.